Good evening, everybody. I can't tell you how wonderful it is to see this turnout. It is remarkable, and Monsignor Finn deserves it. And I want to thank each and every one of you for being here, and I want to publicly thank my staff, lest I forget. This is a gift to me that you guys are giving me to ensure that this night for Monsignor Finn is as wonderful as it already is. So thank you for that, guys. I very much appreciate it. A few weeks ago, Lou Tobacco, the aforementioned Lou Tobacco, and I were having dinner with a young man who is about to lead a new public charter school on Staten Island called Bridge Prep that we helped birth. It will be the first in the state, one of the only schools in the country specifically designed to help kids with dyslexia. And we were having a conversation about education, and inevitably, invariably, when you get Farrell guys together, you talk about Farrell. And we were talking about our education and stories, and we were talking about the institution. And Lou was sitting on my left, Tim Costanza was sitting on my right, and Lou was speaking about our beloved Farrell, and he got overcome with emotion. And he had the look on his face of a little bit of embarrassment. I said, brother, this is family, there's no need to be embarrassed. He was surprised about how emotional he got about Farrell. A few days later, I was sitting in what I call the blue room, crazy blue color of this little room in my house where I do a lot of thinking. And I was thinking about what I would want to say tonight. And I sat there by myself, and tears started rolling down my eyes, thinking about what I wanted to say about Monsignor Finn. Now, some of you will say, Otto, you've been crying in public for 2 decades now, so it's no great surprise. But I think those 2 moments capture the depth of the gratitude that we have to Monsignor Finn. So I make no bones about the fact that I don't like the ceremonial or the symbolic parts of this job. I'm way too restless for it. But the Maniscalco Award these last 5 years has proven the exception to it, because we've had the chance of publicly thanking people who have helped this island, and I am one of the people in the universe of those who have been helped. Whether it was Mr. Morris, who I knew for the shortest time, this amazing World War II vet that we just got to meet, or someone I have known throughout my tenure in public office like Teddy Atlas or Dee Vandenberg, Rich and Lois Nicotra. I essentially have known Monsignor Finn all of my life. I want to take you back to the 1970s. I was a student at Academy of St. Dorothy. When Peter Finn was in that little yellow brick schoolhouse, I felt it. He had a presence. He had an aura. There was a reverence. When we had Mass in that little auditorium and Monsignor Finn was there, it was this awesome feeling. I announced my run for presidency. I asked Monsignor Weller, can I come back home to the gym at Monsignor Farrell? And I told the crowd then that in 1980 in the Oddo household, when I got accepted to Monsignor Farrell, it was a huge deal. It was a chance to get a great education led by an amazing educator. And for me, even at that tender age, it was a chance to validate the sacrifices that my parents made. To go to a school where Peter G. Finn was going to be the principal. Lo and behold, and my friend Joe Nicotra is in the audience from the class of '84, lo and behold, that freshman year, we don't have to get into the details, but the teacher of the Afro-Asian history class that we had went AWOL. Don't laugh, Joe. And who had to step in to teach that class? But our principal, Peter G. Finn. And long before the CDC came out and said, you know what's good for the muscle of the brain of students, even better than studying actually, is exercise. Long before people talked about purpose-driven, Father Finn knew that we had to be there for something bigger than ourselves. So he comes in, and student by student, he says, what are your extracurricular activities? What sport are you playing? And if you were like me and said, nothing, he said, in a week you will come back and you will tell me what sport that is. And I, all 103 pounds or 105 pounds of me, chose wrestling, and I was on the wrestling team. And it was such a blessing. I have lifelong friends, people like Bobby Bernbach that I met, and it such great memories, including one day walking into Brother Fish's chemistry class 25 minutes late. And if you remember Brother Fish, he gave you that look, and I said, I'm sorry I'm late, brother. I was kidnapped. And he just gave you that look of disgust and didn't ask you. And I was kidnapped. I was kidnapped by the elder classmen. They took me from the cafeteria, all in fun, and drove me to Great Kills Point and left me there. And I had to walk back. So Monsignor Finn said to me, Mr. Oddo, what are you going to do? Your Farrell experience is a blessing. And my story is shared, and I share it with thousands, tens of thousands. And I mentioned earlier at Borough Hall, do the math. Think about all of the men that went through the hallways of that school during his tenure, and all the men that followed that were blessed to be part of that institution. Think about their lives. Think about their contributions to Staten Island and to the community. Now think about the families they've built. Think about the sons and daughters that they have had that are contributing to this community, all positively impacted by Peter Finn. Now think about the religious world. Think about those of us who attend Mass. Think about those of us who have been touched spiritually. I came across a great line in a book the other day, healed people heal. Think about all the goodness that the men and women, all of the goodness that they've contributed to this community, and then ask yourself, if you go back in Staten Island's history, and I said down in Borough Hall just a few minutes ago, if you go back 50 years, think about it. And if you go back 50 years, you should probably go back 200 years. If you go back 200 years, go back to the beginning of the history of this community and try to think about how many people have had an impact directly or indirectly like Peter Finn has on this community. They're not many. And I mentioned down there, and it's a good line, and I'm going to repeat it. It is this compounding, cascading wave of positivity that emanates from this man. And that is his legacy. And I know all of you are proud to be a part of it. And that's why he absolutely deserves this award. So to the Maniscalco family, thank you for always being a part of this. Thank you for allowing me to be the temporary keeper of this commitment that we've made to your dad's legacy and to your family. Monsignor Finn, thank you. I chased the ghost of trying to make my father proud to this day. And I know he is looking down and thinking, all of those mornings I went up early to go drive those trains all around town to bust my rear end to give you that education. I think it was well worth it. Thank you for that, sir.